right, hi everyone, good evening. My name is Catherine. I'm going to be one of the facilitators tonight for our certified teacher candidate presentation. We welcome you and thank you for taking the time to join us this evening for the certified teacher candidate presentation. We're going to go ahead and get started with a little bit of housekeeping. So a couple of things to keep in mind as we begin. This is a webinar format, so you won't be able to unmute or turn your camera on, but we do want to make sure that we are answering any questions you might have. So please use the Q&A feature, which is on the control panel of GoToWebinar, so you can submit feedback, questions, anything that you're wondering so we can help with that. If you are someone who is joining us using the app on your phone, you can access that by clicking the question mark icon on the top right corner. We are going to be sending you a recording of this webinar after it's over, so you're welcome to take notes, screenshots throughout the presentation, but we will be following up so that you can revisit this for any information you might need. And then finally, we will have some QR codes on some of the slides throughout the presentation tonight. So you may want to have your camera nearby in case you would like to access any of those for the information that we'll be sharing. All right, so with that, again, welcome. My name is Catherine. I'm one of the facilitators tonight. I am a New York City Public Schools teacher. This is my 14th year in the classroom, and I teach middle school science in Manhattan. So thank you again for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so here is a screenshot of our website. It's just been redesigned, so we're really excited to share this with you. This is something I do think you should jot down from the presentation, which is teachnyc.net. This is going to be the website where you have all the things related to starting a career at New York City Public Schools. As I mentioned, it's just been updated and redesigned, so there's a lot of great new resources and tools there that are available to help you and help you find the right pathway to teaching in one of our schools. All right, so here's an agenda of what we plan to cover tonight. This session is designed for New York State certified teacher candidates or education students that are on track to be certified. The presentation is going to be broken up into 4 different topics. We're going to give an overview of New York City Public Schools, the teacher application process, the job search process, and then we will leave some time for questions at the end. Our goal tonight is that you'll walk away with an understanding of how you can start the process to begin your teaching career at New York City Public Schools. We also want to remind you and mention again that if you do have questions throughout this presentation, please feel free to type them into the questions section of GoToWebinar. And then the last thing we'll say here in this part is that the sooner that you apply, the sooner you're going to be able to gain access to what we call the new teacher finder. This is going to be our portal of available positions, networking events, and principal panels, and the job search guide. So I'll go through all those aspects this evening, but we're excited that you're here tonight so that you can get started in this process. All right, so let's go ahead and begin with the first section of our evening, which is going to be an overview of our New York City Public Schools. Okay, so here we see Chancellor Kamar Samuels, and he shares with us, as a lifelong educator who has served our system as a teacher, principal, and superintendent, and as the parent of 2 New York City Public School students, I know firsthand that our schools are the heart of our communities. I believe that our students from early childhood through graduation deserve schools that are safe, academically rigorous, and truly integrated. They should know that their children are learning the fundamentals, starting with reading, and are being challenged academically and guided by high expectations, strong instruction, and teachers who believe in them. All right, a little bit more about New York City Public Schools. When you join New York City Public Schools, you are joining the largest, most dynamic district in the nation. We have over 900,000 students who speak over 180 languages and a network of 77,000 fellow teachers. New York City educators have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. New York City Public School students represent a wide range of backgrounds, identities, languages, and learning needs. They need teachers who reflect their diversity and are ready and able to support their learning. Whatever your background, experiences, and skill sets might be, there are students in New York City Public School classrooms that are waiting for a teacher like you. New York City has 1,600 schools that are just as diverse as our students and the distinctive neighborhoods that we serve. We have neighborhood schools with deep roots in their local communities, all the way to small thematic schools in the performing arts. There's schools that focus on STEAM, humanities, and dual language schools. So whatever your interests and passions might be, there is a school for you. You can choose a school that fits your teaching philosophy and engage with a community of like-minded professionals. Within our schools, teachers build personal connections with their students, colleagues, and families to support relationship building and learning outcomes. We're going to talk later in the presentation about how to find your fit and navigate the job search process in New York City. This is a great time to be applying to work in one of our schools because the New York State class size law means that opportunities for educators in New York City is only growing. We're hiring thousands of additional teachers this year to ensure our classrooms citywide are in compliance with this new law. Okay. New York City Public Schools is also always growing with new schools opening each year. This year we opened 7 new schools. So who are we looking for? New York City Public Schools is dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. We're looking for passionate, collaborative, and committed teachers to reflect the incredible diversity of the student body that we serve. When we speak about passionate teachers, we're talking about a team of exceptional educators who are passionate about educating urban students, truly believing in the power education can make in a student's life. When we speak about collaborative teachers, we're thinking about teachers who thrive on constant learning and collaboration with their colleagues. And when we speak about committed teachers, we're thinking about teachers who are willing to go above and beyond for their students, understanding students' challenges and embracing their potential. So now let's talk a little bit about the impacts that teachers have the ability to make. A teacher's impact extends well beyond the classroom. Teachers impact student achievement 2 to 3 times more than any other aspect of schooling. Among school-related factors, studies show that teachers matter most. When it comes to student performance on reading and math tests, teachers have 2 to 3 times the effect of any other school factor, including services, facilities, and even school leadership. Research has shown that a teacher's impact on their own class has what they call spillover effects for the entire school. When you make an impact on students within your classroom, those students then go on to raise the level of achievement in their future classes. In a given school year, a teacher can make a huge impact on the students in their class. Students who can read proficiently by the end of 3rd grade are significantly less likely to drop out of high school. Graduating from high school is associated with major life benefits, including increased wealth, health, and the likelihood of employment. All right, so now let's talk about what are some of the benefits of teaching in New York City Public Schools. You get to make a difference in the lives of your fellow New Yorkers, maybe even those in your own local community. You focus on building a better future, using your skills to help develop the nation's next leaders, innovators, and educators. And you build relationships with colleagues who are dedicated to a shared goal. You're joining a robust network of over 70,000 teachers. Okay, so here we see 2 of our New York City Public Schools teachers. We have Sergio on the left, who tells us that if you are here, it's because you are passionate about education and helping students learn in the most diverse city in the world. And on the right, we have Charlene, and she shares with us that working and living in New York City affords you a range of opportunities that you don't see elsewhere. Okay, so now we are going to highlight one of our teacher recruiters. Her name's Ohasi, and she's going to share a little bit with us in this short video clip about why she loves being a teacher in New York City Public Schools.
I've always wanted to work with kids. My bachelor's degree was in psychology and sociology. I decided that instead of going that route, I wanted to pursue my education master's and start teaching. What's beautiful about teaching now is that we are all in this together. We all work together. We all collaborate together. I'm here to facilitate. I'm not here to lecture them for the entire period. They get to experience learning with each other. They get to experience making mistakes and learning from their mistakes. They get to experience exploring. Go for it. Being a teacher is like no other career. It's just so amazing how you can come into a building and work with a group of kids. You're shaping the future. Working in the community that I grew up has made me the person that I am today. I know the world better, and that's because I am a teacher, and I work at PS 178, and I work in New York City, and I work in Washington Heights, and I love it.
All right. So in addition to the great benefits that Ohasi shared with us in that video clip, let's move into our competitive salary that we do offer here at New York City Public Schools. So on September 14th, 2026, salaries will start at $71,314 for a bachelor's and no experience, and $80,166 with a master's and no experience. Teachers' starting salaries do vary based on their education and their experience. You can also earn additional compensation for teaching after school or summer school programs and for teaching in demanding environments. The Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality is unable to predict what your starting salary will be based on your experience and educational attainment, regardless of the teaching pathway you choose. You can estimate your starting salary by visiting the UFT's salary schedule, which you can access by scanning the QR code here on the screen. This will outline opportunities for increases based on previous teaching experience, longevity at New York City Public Schools, and educational credits. All teachers do begin at the base salary and then apply for salary steps and salary differentials using the salary application system after beginning teaching. If you are eligible for a higher salary due to educational experience or due to your experience or educational attainment, you must apply for a salary step when you begin teaching full-time at New York City Public Schools. You cannot apply before then. If you're a paraprofessional, your years of service do not count toward teaching salary steps. If you're a full-time substitute teacher, your experience does count as full-time teaching, but you will need to provide documentation and proof of your full-time work. All right, so let's look ahead a bit at what your salary would be in the future at New York City Public Schools. If you're currently in your 8th year of teaching with your master's plus your 30 credits and professional development courses, you would be earning $106,907. If you have 15 years of teaching at New York City Public Schools with your master's degree plus your 30 credits and professional development courses, you would be making $128,000, $128,277. Remember that this is using the pay scale for the 2026 school season. So these rates are subject to increase with the yearly raises that are negotiated on the UFT contract. If you are interested in learning more about salary, there's 3 additional resources that you can scan the QR codes for here on the screen. On the left, we have resources from the United Federation of Teachers. In the center, New York City Public Schools resources. And on the right, there is a webinar specific to salary that you may access. So we'll give you a moment to scan any that you might like, and then we'll move forward. All right, so in addition to our competitive salaries, we do have additional benefits for working in New York City Public Schools. We offer comprehensive health insurance plans, which include dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Some of these plans require no employee contribution. There are annual retention bonuses, which are prorated during your first year and increase each year. There's membership with the United Federation of Teachers, enrollment in a pension plan, and New York City Public Schools employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including commuter benefits, a college savings program, and employee discounts on everything from technology and media to travel and education. In addition, scholarships, financial incentives, and other special programs are available for many employees. Right, there's also an exciting loan forgiveness program that you could be eligible for as a New York City Public Schools teacher. New York City Public Schools employees may also be eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made the equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan, and while working full-time for an eligible employer. So if you're interested, you can scan the QR code here on the screen to learn more about this program. All right, new teachers in New York City hit the ground running with professional resources and learning opportunities that are tailored just for them, in addition to the many career development opportunities that are available to all teachers in our schools. We offer robust supports for our new teachers in person, online, and in community settings. These include our New Teacher Week, which is an annual event where new teachers can get inspiration from special guest speakers, learn about key policies, engage with the United Federation of Teachers, and network with their fellow teachers. We have school-based mentoring, All new hires with an initial or Trans B license are assigned an experienced and trained mentor teacher to support professional growth throughout their first year. And we also have the First Class newsletter, which is a monthly digital bulletin for first-year teachers that spotlights vetted resources, teaching tips, and answers to common new teacher questions. Teachers in New York City public schools, no matter where they are in their careers, also have access to professional development opportunities at their schools, including coaching, professional development days, and after-school learning opportunities. In addition to school-based supports, optional development opportunities are made available by various teams, including New York City Public Schools offices and the United Federation of Teachers. We also offer digital resources for busy teachers to find resources for their classroom and regularly stay connected to opportunities to extend their learning and their impact. Okay, so now we're going to watch a short video clip to hear from Victoria and her mentor, David, about their mentor-mentee relationship.
I was fortunate that my principal let me become her mentor. I feel it makes teaching even more enjoyable because you're responsible to hear out your mentees' ideas, and we get to learn from each other, like our different teaching styles.
Being open to feedback, because at the end of the day, your mentor wants you to be a better teacher. They're not trying to criticize you.
To be a new teacher coming to New York City, it can be intimidating, and to know that you're going to have someone within your academic subject area to support you is something that I think everyone should know that is offered from New York City.
We have a lot of phys ed teachers that were able to collaborate, we're able to share ideas to make the experience better for the students. Some students are individual and some do have different triggers. It's nice to ask a veteran teacher, you had this student for 3 years, what did you do that helped this student?
Other people have the same issues. It's not just you. You're not alone on an island. Like, other people are experiencing the same thing, veteran teachers, rookie teachers.
We're very fortunate here, and being able to just bounce ideas off and learn from what other people are doing is just so great.
Okay, so in addition to our mentoring opportunities, we do have other teacher leader opportunities at New York City Public Schools. Teacher leader responsibilities include leading laboratory classrooms, facilitating professional collaborations, coaching peers and colleagues, and advocating in leadership conversations. So if you're interested in these opportunities, you can scan the QR code here on the screen to learn more. Okay, so now let's talk a bit about early childhood education and some of the job opportunities that are available in this space. Okay, so our pre-K initiative is currently servicing all 32 districts, which is supporting about 40,000 students across the 5 boroughs. Early childhood teacher candidates can work in one of 4 early childhood settings in New York City. We have district schools, pre-K centers, charter schools, and community-based organizations, which are known as CBOs. You can see all 4 settings represented on the My Schools map, which is a free online resource for all prospective teachers. The different settings are represented by different colored hands, which you can see here on the screen. We'll start by highlighting our district schools and pre-K centers, which are the light blue and dark blue hands. District programs are early childhood classrooms located in district elementary schools, and there are about 700 of these across New York City. Pre-K centers are standalone buildings that only offer 3K and pre-K grades and classrooms. If you work at one of these sites, you are an employee of the City of New York and New York City Public Schools. You must hold a New York State Early Childhood Teaching Certification by the start of the school year to work in one of these settings. Okay, now we will highlight our charter schools, which are the green hands. New York City Public Schools works with about 15 to 20 charters in New York City that offer early childhood programs. They usually have their own HR and hiring practices, but this is an option for you as a teacher candidate. And then we're going to talk about our New York City Early Education Centers, which are known as community-based organizations, or CBOs. These are all the orange hands that you see on the map. CBOs are independent community-based organizations that contract with New York City Public Schools to provide free early childhood programs. There's about 1,200 of these across New York City. So if you look at the map, you'll notice the vast majority of the handprints there are orange. Each CBO does employ its own teachers. They are not employees of the City of New York. As a teacher candidate, it is important to understand the benefits of CBOs in order to maximize your job search and potential to secure a teaching position. If you would like more information, you can scan the QR code on this slide, which will take you to the early childhood section of our website. There you'll be able to find more information about all of the early childhood settings. Right, so a little bit more about the opportunities for early childhood educators. The left shows all of the opportunities for certified teachers. If you are certified or on track to be certified by September of 2026, we recommend completing the New York City Public Schools teacher application at teachnyc.net as soon as possible. When completing the application, you can then select whether you would be interested in teaching at CBOs. Saying yes to CBOs will greatly increase your job prospects. For those of you who will not be certified by September of 2026, but are interested in teaching early childhood, we recommend that you complete the Early Childhood Teacher Finder when it launches. With this, you have the opportunity to teach in a CBO as a lead teacher on a study plan, which allows you to teach full-time and earn a salary while completing your certification requirements. For more information, you can scan the QR code that you find on the screen. All right, and with that, I am going to pass this to my colleague, Michaeline, and she'll talk us through the application process.
Thank you so very much. So, New York State Teacher Certification is a requirement for a permanent teaching position at the New York City Public Schools. So all New York City teachers must hold a valid teaching certificate from the New York State Education Department. Most of our applicants have already earned their certification or will have it by the time they plan to begin full-time teaching. If you are in a teacher preparation program or if you hold a teaching certificate in another state, you must apply for New York State certification at nysed.gov. You should also submit your NYC teacher application at the same time that you're completing your certification requirements or while you're waiting for your certification. Please don't wait until your certification is finalized in order to apply. There are a few unique teaching opportunities if you aren't yet certified, which we'll talk about in the next few slides before getting into the application process. So you might be wondering what those opportunities, what the internship certification opportunities are. So what it is, it's a 2-year certificate. If you are at a certain point in your schooling, you may have this opportunity to obtain this certificate. It's a year certification available to students who have completed at least 50% of a New York State graduate program that leads to an initial certification. The internship certificate helps to meet an immediate need across New York City. It allows you to obtain hands-on teaching experience while completing your degree and your initial certification requirements so that you could begin earning a full-time teaching salary all while you're in school. For those of you that are interested, you must complete the New York City Public School teacher application and upload an internship eligibility letter, which is found on our website. Okay, so again, you need to complete the New York City Public School application and then upload. You should get the letter from your university that says you're on track to be certified. Everyone who is interested in teaching for the upcoming school year must complete their teacher application at teachnyc.net. When you're applying to teach in the New York City Public Schools, you should think of several important action steps. These action steps aren't necessarily listed in order, since you can submit your New York City teacher application without being officially certified. Oftentimes, candidates want to know, should we wait However, please, before your certification is issued, we do recommend and expect that you complete your application while you're waiting for your certification. Please don't delay. You'll get your teacher certification through the New York State Education Department. It's important to note that the New York City State Education Department and the New York City Public Schools are two separate entities. New York State Education Department is the main entity that issues certification. So if they say you're certified, you can be hired. Make sure that you're working closely with your college or university office to make sure that you complete all your requirements. Certification is now issued on a rolling basis, so the faster you apply, the faster you get certified, and the easier for you to get hired. So this slide shows the application process, the first steps of which we'll be covering in the upcoming slides. So a few stats. Close to 30% of our applicants were started before March. Over 40% were of our hirees were completed before July 15th. It took about 8 days from the day you started till the day you submitted, and it was approximately 83 days between when your application was submitted and the hire date. So the bottom line is please submit your application as soon as possible. So to start your application, we have a screenshot of what the teachnyc.net looks like, and this is where you'll apply. Once you get there, you're going to click apply today. It will show a drop down of all the different applications. Please make sure you're selecting the certified teacher application. For those of you that will be certified in early childhood, or if you're interested in our CBOs, please select CBO application. It is currently closed, but you can definitely express your interest. There's also a great resource called the application guide. So before you start your application, strongly suggest you check this out as it will help walk you through the process. You could go to the homepage and scroll past the application information to find the guide. It shares information on preparing for the application, how to create an account, how to complete your common profile. It also has some tips and notes and also a frequently asked question portion. And it also introduces you to our online support center. Please strongly recommend that you read this guide before you start your application. So this is the screen you'll see on how to create an account. If you're a new user, you will need to select new user. If you have used the application in previous years, you can use previous login in order to gain access. If for some reason you can't remember your previous login information or you're just not sure, please select not sure. So in order to create an account, you'll need to register. So this is what the page would look like. You will have to complete all the information to register your account before you can move on to any next steps. Please keep in mind this is a secure government website, so personal information is protected. You must fill in all required fields, which include email, social security, and password. Some things to look for. Here's an example of the icons and required fields that you would need to complete on your application. So there's two different parts to the application. The first part is your New York City Public School profile. The second part is the actual application. In order to complete your profile or your application, you need to complete both sections. As part of your profile, you need to include account information and work eligibility. This step asks for basic contact information and requires you to answer a few questions regarding work eligibility. So in order to work in New York City, you must meet citizenship and/or residency requirements. You must complete all parts of this question, especially if you answered yes to the work authorization status. Please note, if you do not disclose your work authorization status, your application will not be allowed to move further. In this portion, you also have your education history, both high school and post-secondary education. If you hold any advanced degrees or you hold multiple degrees, please enter your undergraduate information first before you enter any additional degree information. Please feel free to include any work experience or references that you may have, especially if it will help inform your starting salary when you get hired. For this reason, accuracy about your professional experience is very important. Some additional information in this section include resume. Keep in mind, attachments cannot be more than 1 megabyte in size. We encourage you to upload your resume as a PDF. That way you preserve any formatting that you may have. You could also customize your resume when you complete your profile and apply for specific positions. There's also a disclaimer and a release statement. You to acknowledge submission of information into the application system, you need to acknowledge these in order to move on. The second part is the actual application. In this portion, you have to upload proof of certification or that letter from your university that states you're on track, your resume and your work history, your academic history, your references, and you could also include here Common Core aligned lesson plans and your personal statement. We're looking for evidence that demonstrates you are a polished professional who has thoughtfully submitted an application to New York City Public Schools, so please keep these things in mind. Your responses to this part of the application can affect your engagement with our office. For example, if you've selected you prefer the Bronx, you may be invited for specific recruitment events geared towards Bronx schools. In this part, you have to also specify your preferences. In completing the job search profile, there are multiple questions that allow you to specify your preferences with respect to grade levels, borrows, and program types. Your grade level that you're going to put as your preference has to match your certification area. So please don't select middle school if your certification is at a high school level. It has to match in order for you to work in New York City. Your borrow preference. Please indicate which of the locations you're most interested in finding a job. As you know, New York City Public School is one of the largest school districts in the country, 1,600 schools and over five boroughs. Therefore, we need to know your preference in order to help you find the perfect position for you. You need to select your top 3 borough preferences. If you're only willing to accept a position in 1 or 2 of the boroughs, please mark those 2 selections and mark no preference for the 3rd borough. You can always revisit this section as often as you would like, especially if your circumstances changes throughout the hiring season. District 75 preference is also an option here. District 75 is a non-geographic district providing quality and rigorous individualized, personalized programs to students with significant challenges. So that means if you're eligible in this certification area and you would like your resume shared with District 75 schools, you would need to specify this as your preference. You can also indicate interest in working in District 75 so that District 75 principals can focus on your application. In your job search profile selection on this application, you also have the option to indicate your interest in early childhood positions. So say yes to CBOs. If you're certified or are on track to teach early childhood education, after you have selected your interest in this certification area, we encourage you to select yes so that CBO hiring managers have access to your application. Each year, the majority of early childhood hiring occurs in New York City CBOs, and by selecting yes, you will have access to hundreds of those positions. As a reminder, NYC CBOs are the only opportunity through New York City Public School to be a lead teacher without yet having your certification. The not yet certified positions may be of interest to some of you that might not be certified by the start of the next school year, but you are still interested in getting classroom teaching experience and earning your salary now. If you would like to learn more information, you go to www.teachnycprek.org. Certified teachers working in community-based New York City CBOs and 4410 programs now make the same starting salary as teachers working in New York City public schools, district schools, and pre-K centers. For each certification or extension you hold, you'll be asked to input the following information: the certification status, whether you received it already or if you're still waiting on the certification. Also, if you're certified in another state, what type of certification you have, the subject area and grade level, and also your issue date or your expected issue date. You also get to indicate the educational pathway to your certification. That just means if you did the traditional teacher preparation program or if you got your certification through the New York City Teaching Fellows or any other pathway. Please note that you need to enter this information for each certification or extension that you hold. So you might be wondering what proof of certification you would need. Just to let you know, one of the most common reasons people get stuck at the review processing of their application is because they did not upload the correct supporting documentation to show that they're certified or that they're on track to be certified. If you hold a teacher certification already, you will need to submit an electronic copy of your current teacher certification that is not expired, or you can submit a screenshot of your teacher account showing that you have a current certification. However, if you're on track to receive your teacher certification by September 2026, you must submit an on-track letter completed by your college or university. An example or a sample of one of these letters can be found by scanning the QR code on the screen. You also would need to submit your resume. Even though we do not have a required resume template, we do provide a suggested resume template that can be found on the teacher application guide. We also do encourage you to work with your graduate school of education and take advantage of your career services center at your college or university to help you get support with your resume before you upload it and submit your application. Some tips that we recommend for effective resume composition. Think about the audience, your qualifications, review, and formatting. Keep in mind you'll have a chance to upload another copy of the resume in the application. However, this is your chance to ensure that your resume reflects your experience and qualifications to become a New York City public school teacher. Your resume is a critical part of your first impression, so here are some tips for composing your resume. The application process. After completing the Common Profile and the New York City Public School Teacher application, you will receive a confirmation email from the Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality letting you know that we've received your application. All applications will be reviewed at that level to determine certification eligibility, and only the applicants that meet the standard would be entered into New Teacher Finder, And that's just our database for candidates to connect with schools and access job postings and other resources that we offer. We'll talk more about this in the new Teacher Finder shortly. Now you can officially start your job search. We do have a suggested timeline. So just to give you a sense of what's happening, the application opened on January 12th and will remain open through the summer. There's a lot of mid-year hiring that takes place during the early winter months, and then principals begin hiring and interviewing for the following school year. Early commitment is an initiative for candidates certified in high-need subject areas to be able to accept positions in certain districts prior to the budgets being released for peak hiring. This year, we even have a stipend available for candidates who accept an early commitment before June 16th. Then finally, peak hiring is June through August. So the early commitment program, all subjects are eligible. However, only schools in the selected districts listed on the screen can make hiring commitments to candidates between March and June. There are opportunities for the candidates to secure a position before the school budgets are released in June, and the stipend amount differs by the districts. So please take a screenshot of this screen. Just to let you know, our peak hiring application deadline is May 7th. Again, peak hiring deadline is May 7th. So just to review, in order for you to teach at a New York City public school, you must be certified, which means complete the requirements and apply through the New York State for your teaching certification. 2, you must submit a New York City teacher application at teachnyc.net. Since it is open now, you could get started on that part. Last but not least, you need to find your own position. We do encourage and recommend that you do your own outreach and networking so that you're able to find a position in a school that best suits you. So I'm going to pass it on to my colleague on helping you find your perfect fit.
Hi, my name is Maribel, and I'm a world language teacher, and I've been in the New York City Public Schools for 26 years. We will be discussing finding your fit, the high need subject areas, finding the right position, and the new teacher finder. One way you can promote success in your job search is by considering districts, neighborhoods, and schools where your talents are most needed. If you're certified in certain high demand subject areas, this is especially true. If you are really determined to work here, you should also think strategically about where you are looking for a position. If you want to go where the jobs are, consider teaching positions in the Bronx and Brooklyn. And I'll repeat that again, the Bronx and Brooklyn. This year, 52% of our new hires occur in schools in these two boroughs. It's important that you find a school that's the right fit for you. But don't exclude schools because they are slightly out of your comfort zone or in a different borough from where you live. Almost all of our schools are easily accessible by public transportation, and we have students who need great teachers in all 5 boroughs. While we hire across all certification areas and backgrounds, we want to highlight the current hiring priorities for New York City public schools. These priorities can shift from year to year based on the needs of our schools. If candidates are not yet certified or candidates are considering adding an extension to your certification, these are areas where principals will be hiring and where there is a high demand for more teachers to be certified. We encourage you to consider one of these areas where teachers are in high demand. In addition, if you have an extension or another certification in one of these subject areas, it might be wise to leverage it to increase their job prospects. Here are some tips for finding the right position. research schools online, conduct outreach to schools directly, use the new teacher finder and other job boards, network with colleagues, professors, and friends, and attend the New York City Public School networking events. One helpful job search tool is the New York Teacher Finder, or NTF. Once you submit a high quality application, you will get access to the new Teacher Finder. You will be able to log in and use the new Teacher Finder in several ways. First, your application profile will become viewable to principals and recruiters. You'll also be able to search for teaching positions. It's important to note that not all principals list positions in the NTF, but many do. This will give you a sense of what is out there. Principals may not post positions, but they could be reviewing resumes to see which candidates can be a good fit for their schools. If you're certified in a high need subject area, you may receive invitations to the New York City Public Schools sponsored recruitment events during the spring or summer. And I saw a lot of questions on the chat about this. So these are the high need areas. It's important to note that not all candidates are invited to all events online and in person. Overall, applications quality, event capacity, and current certification needs are taken into consideration when inviting candidates to network events. Here's a screenshot of what the new Teacher Finder looks like. After selecting Search all positions on the left panel, you can filter for the position type, your preferred borough, grade level, and subject area. Principals enter their vacancies into the NTF, and while you can express interest via the NTF, you should also email principals directly. To learn more about specific schools, you can go to schoolsnyc.gov and use the school search feature right on the homepage. You can search for schools by name, borough, or grade level to help narrow down your options. However, you'll want to remember that the tool lists every school in our system, not just those with openings. Once you've identified schools that interest you, you'll need to contact them directly to inquire about positions availability. Researching schools. Clicking on an individual school's name will take you to a page that contains a wealth of information about a school. You click on the school website to go directly to their website. You click on Overview to see some data about their grade levels, enrollment, district, and more. Click on School Quality to direct links to schools' quality guides and reports for this school. Click on Reports for additional information about school programs, finances, and more. As you're conducting your job search, you'll want to think about ways to help you stand out virtually. This can include creating a portfolio, ensuring your cover letter and resume are strong, clear, and specific, and uploading a portfolio and or videos of demo lessons. You can upload all of this information in the Spotlight section of this new Teacher Finder so that principals can see it when they view your application. You can also send this information to principals and hiring managers via email when conducting your outreach. Note that your demo lessons should be uploaded to an online platform like Google or Dropbox, and you can then include the link in your portfolio. With the right strategies and approaches, you can find the position that is right for you. Next steps and questions. Visit the online support center for 24/7 support with the application and hiring process. The support center contains hundreds of articles about every stage of the application and hiring process, as well as a contact us button where you can submit your questions to the TRQ Help Desk for a personalized response. Okay, you can subscribe to teachnyc.net. And we're going to be putting this on the chat as well. We are very active on the LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Last season, we reached millions of prospective and current teachers through our posts. Follow us and tag us to join the conversation. Check us out on YouTube to watch video recording of all of our information sessions, teacher spotlights, and more.